The village of Eshar had stood for centuries on the edge of a forest that no one dared enter. People said the forest was alive, that the trees whispered each other in voices that resembled sobbing women. It wasn't just the wind. Everyone agreed on that. On certain nights, when the moon was high and silver mist hung low across the ground, one could hear weeping. Old women spoke of wanderers who had gone inside and never come back. Farmers swore their cattle grew restless when grazing too close to the forest's edge. Children dared one another to take 3 steps into the trees, but none stayed long. Still, among the younger villagers, there was always doubt. Legends fade with time, and fear becomes curiosity. 5 friends, Amir, Hina, Rafik, Sana, and Bilal, were determined to test the stories. It's just superstition, Amir said one evening, sitting in the village square. No forest can weep, no trees can steal souls. The others laughed nervously. Yet, curiosity was stronger than caution. They agreed that on the next full moon, they would enter the weeping forest and uncover the truth. The night of their journey came quickly. The moon hung like a silver coin in the sky, casting a pale glow on the crooked tree-line. The friends carried lanterns, their flames flickering in the cold night air. The path was nearly invisible, covered in vines and roots, as though the forest itself had tried to swallow it whole. Every step forward felt heavy, and the silence inside was suffocating. No insects buzzed, no owls hooted, only the sound of leaves crunching underfoot. Then it began, a soft sobbing sound, distant but unmistakable. It rose and fell like someone grieving in the dark. Hina froze. "Do you hear that?" she whispered. Rafik tried to laugh it off, though his voice cracked. "It's just the wind." But the sobbing grew louder. And this time, they all heard something chilling. The sobbing spoke. It called each of their names in a long, broken wail. The forest knew they were there. After what felt like hours of wandering in circles, the group stumbled upon a clearing. In the center was a lake, so still it seemed like polished glass. Not a ripple disturbed its surface. The moonlight reflected so perfectly that it looked as though there were 2 moons, one in the sky, one in the water. Sanan knelt by the shore, peering into the water. "It's beautiful," she whispered. But then her expression changed. Her breath caught. "There's someone in there." The others rushed over. Beneath the surface, pale faces stared upward, eyes wide, mouths open in eternal screams. Hundreds of them, as if the lake itself was filled with drowned souls. Suddenly, the sobbing began again, but closer this time. The sound didn't come from around them. It came from below the water. And then the lake whispered in voices that overlapped one another, "Stay with us forever." Before anyone could react, Amir stepped too close. A pale, skeletal hand shot out from the water, clamping around his ankle. He screamed, thrashing wildly, but more hands emerged, dragging him into the black depths. His lantern fell, sputtering out on the shore. The water swallowed him whole. Not a ripple remained. It was as if Amir had never existed. Sanaa screamed, clutching Bilal's arm. Rafik tried to wade into the water, but Hina pulled him back. "No, the forest has taken him. We can't save him." For the first time, they realized the truth. The stories weren't legends. The weeping forest was real, and it had claimed its first victim. And yet, the path behind them had closed. The trees twisted together like prison bars, sealing them in. The forest had chosen them. And it was not done. They fled deeper into the woods, stumbling through the darkness. The sobbing followed them, louder now, mingled with faint laughter. The trees seemed to bend inward, their branches forming grotesque shapes, like skeletal arms reaching down to snatch them. At last, they came upon a monstrous tree, twice the height of the others, its bark blackened and cracked as though struck by fire. Faces shifted within the wood, screaming silently. And there she was, the keeper, a woman draped in tattered robes, her skin pale and stretched thin, her eyes black voids that wept tears of blood. Her voice was a whisper and a scream all at once. "You should not have come," she said. "The forest hungers, and now it will feed." Sanaa stammered, "Why us? Why here?" The keeper tilted her head. "Long ago I betrayed my people. For my sin, I was bound to these woods. Now, I weep for eternity, and those who enter must join me. The forest must grow. The forest must weep. The keeper's voice grew colder. But there is a way. One of you may choose to stay, to be bound here, to become part of the trees. In exchange, the others will go free. The friends stare at one another, terror in their eyes. No one spoke at first. The silence was heavy with dread. Bilal clenched his fists. We can't give up one of us. But Rafiq's voice trembled. If we don't, we all die. Hina shook her head violently. No, we'll find another way. The keeper only smiled, her tears dripping onto the ground like drops of ink. The forest moaned, as though amused. As the night stretched on, fear poisoned their bond. They whispered to one another, suspicion and selfishness rising. Who would sacrifice? Who would betray? The sobbing grew louder, echoing with hunger. The forest was waiting. When dawn's first light tried to break through the trees, desperation overcame them. In a moment of panic, Rafiq and Bilal shoved Sanaa forward. She stumbled, crying out as the keeper reached for her. But the forest was not fooled. It had listened. It had watched. It knew greed and betrayal when it tasted it. The trees screamed, splitting open like wounds. Shadows poured out, wrapping around all of them. Their screams filled the air as the forest devoured them one by one. Their faces, twisted in terror, pressed into the bark of the great black tree, joining the countless others trapped for eternity. By morning, the forest was silent again. Only the faint sound of weeping lingered, carried on the wind. And when villagers passed by, they swore they heard new voices in the chorus of sorrow, voices that begged, pleaded, and cried. The weeping forest had grown stronger, and it waited for the next soul to enter.